going for refuge. This very day, I go for my refuge.
I go for my refuge.
To the powerful protectors.
To the powerful protectors.
Whose purpose is to guard the universe.
Whose purpose is to guard the universe.
The mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
The mighty conquerors who overcome suffering everywhere.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
Wholeheartedly also I take my refuge.
In the Dharma they have ascertained.
In the Dharma they have ascertained.
Which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Which is the abode of security against the rounds of rebirth.
Likewise in the host of bodhisattvas.
Likewise in the host of bodhisattvas.
I take my refuge.
I take my refuge.
In unison. Namo tassa
bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sekapadam samadhyami. Adimadana veramani sekapadam samadhyami. Kamesu nichachara veramani sekapadam samadhyami. Savada veramani sekapadam samadhyami. Suraneya maja pamadana veramani sekapadam samadhyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. With deeds of loving kindness, I purify my body. With open-handed generosity, I purify my body. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I purify my body. With truthful communication, I purify my speech. With mindfulness clear and radiant, I purify my mind. Transference of merit and self-surrender. May the merit gained. May the merit gained.
In my acting thus.
In my acting thus.
Go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings.
Go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings.
My personality throughout my existences.
My personality throughout my existences.
My possessions.
My possessions.
And my merit in all three ways.
And my merit in all three ways.
I give up without regard to myself.
I give up without regard to myself.
For the benefit of all beings.
For the benefit of all beings.
Just as the earth and other elements.
Just as the earth and other elements.
Are serviceable in many ways.
Are serviceable in many ways.
To the infinite number of beings.
To the infinite number of beings.
Inhabiting limitless space.
Inhabiting limitless space.
So may I become.
So may I become.
That which maintains all beings.
That which maintains all beings.
Situated throughout space.
Situated throughout space.
So long as all have not attained.
So long as all have not attained.
To peace.
To peace.
Okay, so now we come to the ordination ceremony proper. And we're going to start with the ordinands offering a flower, a candle and incense to the shrine, symbolising spiritual receptivity. And the flower symbolises impermanence. So it's very, very beautiful and exquisite, but it soon withers and dies. And life is like that too. Life is short, very beautiful, but it's very quickly over. So it's a call for urgency to apply ourselves to spiritual practice. And the candle represents the light of wisdom shining in the world, and it's a light which we light in within ourselves when we start to practice the Dharma, but it's also a light that we pass on to others, and we're a light that will light many other lights. And the stick of incense represents the fragrance of ethically skillful mental states that affect our whole surroundings. So I'm going to ask the men I will be publicly ordained to come forward one by one and make these 3 traditional offerings. And this is the order that we're going to be doing things throughout the ceremony. And then Padmavajra is going to ask Mike and Paul to come forward and do the same.
And now Mike.
So what you're going to repeat is the going for refuge and the taking of the 10 precepts. And this really is the heart of the whole ceremony, going for refuge, committing yourselves formally to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. And first of all, we salute the Buddha with the words Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, out of gratitude to him for starting the whole tradition. So I'm going to ask those who are ordained by me to repeat after me. Namo Tassa
Namo Tassa
Bhagavato Arahato
Bhagavato Arahato
Samma Sambuddhassa
Samma Sambuddhassa
Namo Tassa
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa.
Namo tassa.
Bhagavato arahato.
Bhagavato arahato.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
And now the precepts in English, the real meaning of observing the precepts. With deeds of loving kindness,
With deeds of loving kindness,
I purify my body.
I purify with kindly communication.
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech
With helpful communication.
with helpful communication.
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech
With harmonious communication.
with harmonious communication.
I purify my speech.
I purify my speech,
Abandoning covetousness for tranquility.
abandoning covetousness for tranquility.
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind,
Changing hatred into compassion.
changing hatred into compassion.
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind,
Transforming ignorance into wisdom.
transforming ignorance into wisdom.
I purify my mind.
I purify my mind.
Now I'm going to exhort you. Ti saranena saha dharmachari sanvarasilam dhammam sadhukam surakitam katva appamadena sampadeta. Which means, having well observed the three refuges and the Dharmachari ordination vows, with mindfulness strive on.
Good. Okay, more purification. So now the ordinands are going to be anointed on the head with a few drops of this special water that's got special purifying magical properties. The only thing is, it only works if you practice the precepts. So first of all, I'll anoint the men I'm ordaining, and then I'll hand over to Papa Vajra.
So Mike,
So we come to the bit you've been waiting for, the bestower of the Kesa. I just want to hold one up, and as you see again, it's pure white, and within it are emblazoned are the three jewels: the Buddha jewel, the yellow jewel, the Dharma jewel, the blue jewel, and the red Sangha jewel, and they're on a white moon mat, and the red lotus of the heart, and they're surrounded by flames. And that symbolises the fact that the Dharma life is an active life, it's a dynamic life, it's burning up impurities and bringing positive states of mind into being. So, we'll do it in the usual order. My men first, and then the men that Padmavajra is ordaining.
And now Mike.
There are 7 more order members in the world, and that's the culmination of a lot of work over many years, and it's a joyful occasion, and it's also just the beginning in some ways as well. It's the beginning of the spiritual life proper. Good. Okay, so now the acceptance verses, and these verses are very, very important. Sometimes, I don't even remember taking these verses. It all happened so quickly at my own public ordination, but they're very important, and they're well worth a lot of study and reflection upon, because they represent the spirit in which ordination is given and in which it's received. And sometimes they're spoken of as the 4 ordination vows, just to stress the weightiness of them. So Padmavajra and I are going to recite these, and you'll respond in call and response. With loyalty to my teachers,
With loyalty to my teachers,
I accept this ordination.
I accept this ordination.
In harmony with friends and companions,
In harmony with friends and companions,
I accept this ordination.
I accept this ordination.
For the attainment of enlightenment,
For the attainment of enlightenment,
I accept this ordination.
I accept this ordination.
For the benefit of all beings,
For the benefit of all beings,
I accept this ordination.
I accept this ordination.
Well, this is probably the bit that you've all been waiting for. So, going for refuge to 3 jewels, committing yourself to the Buddha and Dharma and Sangha. It entails a rebirth, and a rebirth entails a new name, and it's a Buddhist name. And these men who are getting ordained, they receive their names on Monday night at the private ordination ceremony, and those names have been kept secret between them and their preceptor up until now. And now we're going to find out who they really are and what their new names actually are. So this time I'm going to ask each of the men getting ordained, or who've just been ordained, to come forward with their private preceptor, and the private preceptor is going to tell us their new name. So we're going to do this in order of natural seniority, and we're going to start off with Sri Kirti. If you'd come forward with Mike and tell us who Mike is now.
So my pigeon becomes Shraddhadasa, servant of the faithful heart. So we've already figured out, I think today, a faithful heart is a heart placed upon something you can trust, you can rely on, something perhaps, or somewhere perhaps that even feels like home. Which has been mentioned at least 4 times in the ceremony today. So there's no prizes for guessing that the faithful heart is one placed on the 3 jewels. And I think increasingly, particularly over this last year, this is a really difficult year for a lot of people. We've witnessed Shraddhadasa placing his heart very firmly on the 3 jewels. His very considerable heart, I should say, on the 3 jewels. And that's been witnessed not only by me but by others as well. So what is this thing about being a servant of that faithful heart then? And I think to serve I think is to benefit. And I think to serve is to do something for someone else, to try and help them, to support them, to maintain them, to sustain them. And so I think to be a servant of the faithful heart is, in a very literal sense, really an act of keeping the faith. Yeah? Keeping the faith in the sense of keeping faith alive, keeping it vibrant, staying in touch with sources of inspiration, creating and recreating, because it is an active life, this Dharma life, creating and recreating the means by which the faithful heart will flourish and keep flourishing. And perhaps, to me, most of all, it's about honouring the path that subsequently emerges from that faithful heart. Shraddhadasa. Welcome.
Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba dhammanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te. Bhavatu sabba mangalang rakantu sabba devata sabba sanghanubhavena sada soti bhavantu te.